Okay, I hope I have an audience here. Um, my name is Chuck Kyle. I'm the head football coach at St. Ignatius High School. Um, Also the head track coach. I teach English, but also I work with the Cleveland Browns as a youth advisor, and it's been a great relationship. That, as you'll see as we go through this, we have a pilot idea that we want to share with you. And I think Daryl Taylor from the Browns may have talked a little bit about it, or will be in the coming days. But certainly want to share with you some of the important ideas and see if it can help your program. Okay. Hey, I want to tell you a quick family story because come on, I just like doing that to get things going. My grandmother, her maiden name was McDermott, and she was from Ireland, from Roscommon, and she had a brother. My grandmother's really straight arrow woman, you know, but her brother Jack was a little crazy. He was a wild little Irishman. I met him once, I can remember. But anyway, so she tells me the story. He had a tendency to want to play hooky from school. Just would love to go fishing. At the River Shannon goes through this Roscommon. So he figured if he caught a really good fish for dinner and brought it home, my great grandmother wouldn't be that mad at him or whatever. So that's what he figured he'd do. So supposedly one day he goes down to the river and he's looking. Sure enough, the favorite spot to fish, the best place, old man O'Flaherty's sitting there and he's fishing. All right, so young Jack figures, fine, he'll just go over here because he didn't want to talk to the guy. He's grouchy. So he's sitting there, he's fishing a little bit. Well, sure enough, within a few minutes, old O'Flaherty, bang, he catches a fish, and it's a big one. He's banging away at it, fighting it. And sure enough, this fish is a trophy fish. It would feed the whole family for 2 days. But anyway, O'Flaherty pulls it in, and young Jack's looking at him. O'Flaherty's looking at this thing's a 14, 15-inch salmon. And he looks from one end, looks to the other, and shakes his head. He takes the hook out of the mouth of the fish and throws it back in the river. And young Jack is like, what is that guy doing? Oh, man. Well, he's crazy anyway. Who cares? I don't want to talk to him. Well, within a few more minutes, he looks over and there's O'Flaherty again. He's got another one and he's fighting it. This one is even bigger than the first one. It was a trophy fish. It's beautiful. O'Flaherty looks to the one end, looks to the other, shakes his head, takes the hook out, throws it back into the river. Now, this is driving young Jack a little crazy, but okay. Within a few more minutes, O'Flaherty catches another one, but this is not much of a fight. He reels it in pretty easily. Well, it's a fish that's half the sizes of the other two, about 7, 8 inches. Well, O'Flaherty, he's like, shakes his head. He takes the hook out of the fish, puts it on his stringer. He's keeping that one. Well, young Jack, he's that kind of guy. So he goes right down the stream, right to O'Flaherty. He goes, Mr. O'Flaherty, I just saw what you've done. You've thrown away 2 beautiful fish, and you keep the smaller one. I mean, you'd be kicking a beautiful dinner tonight. It'd be great. And O'Flaherty looks at him and goes, Jack, you goat. All I have at home is a 9-inch pan. Now, I don't know if you find that amusing or not, but we can't just do football with a 9-inch pan anymore. There's other things out there that we can use, tools to make this thing better for all of us. And we as high school coaches have benefited so nicely. Certainly the colleges, the pros show us, and the colleges have showed us. And here are these youth coaches. And I'm here tonight to kind of go, let's look at how we can help these people. These are the young kids coming up to fellas to your program 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line. And one, we want them to love the game of football. We want them to be better. But we have to do something for this game to bring it back to what we know. And it's time to progress the game. No longer 9-inch pan. Let's think bigger than the 9-inch pan. That's kind of why I told the story. Okay? Because you know, and I know for years, fine. You have a game and you took the wide angle film and you sat in a room and you went play by play. I mean, I go back to when it was actually film. Maybe some of you guys are that old. The film would break and you'd sit there and you know, come on. We have such great tools now. It's time to use them and make it great. So here's what I'd like to do is go through a few ideas to make sure, you know, with my the title I had there, we're talking about youth, the culture, the youth culture. I don't think I'm that smart, but certainly surrounding the game of football and how important it is, and team sports are important, and how can we really develop it on. I think an important question, if you look at my slide here, is simply, is football still the passion for the youth in the United States? Now, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news for you, okay? And this, I've researched this thing quite a bit. And here's the story. Right now, football, it is by far the most popular team game. Young boys and girls love to watch the game of football. The Super Bowl, obviously, but also college football. It's still very, very popular. But here's the issue. As popular by far more than any other sport to watch and so on. But when you say who's playing the game, right now football is ranked 4th as far as the number of kids, young kids, I'm talking youth now, young kids playing the sport of football. We're ranked 4th. You know, there's soccer, there's basketball, on and on. And there's where we have a problem here. We have a problem. Clearly with the data, kids love the girls and boys. They love the game of football. They love the game. They watch it. They're cheering for it. They're wearing the jerseys. They're all for it. But when somebody says, come on out and play, well, now wait a minute. There's an issue. Okay. And what's happening? Well, you know, certainly the concussion thing is one thing. But there's others. There's other things that we have to talk about, and we have to say, here's the culture, here's what's going on, and how we work with it. Because if you look, player versus spectator, one would think, and parents right now would say, well, which one's healthier? Well, certainly the spectator, you know, because right now, you know, football has injury problems and the concussion issue. But concussion is not the only problem here. I'm going to just show you a line right here. I'm not going to go into whole things about concussion. You've heard it and talked about it. I do ask you to Google an article from the Washington Post that was posted January 22nd, about a year ago, by a man by the name of Hobson. And it's an article that's entitled From Science to Salesman. And if you guys remember the movie Concussion, okay, and it was about Bennett Oleo, who supposedly discovered CTE, and that's what he's made a lot of money supposedly doing. I'm sorry, but if you read that article, it's eye-opening of what occurred there. It's very eye-opening. But you know and I know, unfortunately, it made big news. People saw the movie, and yes, they know that some older players have had some issues. There's no doubt about that. But that really has created a problem, because parents see that and go, well, no, that football, I can't do football. There's concussion. There's concussions in soccer, big time. There's concussions in basketball. There's concussions in all sorts of sports, okay? But in football, pro football has money. And so a lot of people who could make money off of that were there to jump on it. So I encourage you to read that article, because it is eye-opening about what occurred. But we still have to face the issue that, yeah, you know, years ago, you know, people would say, oh, that boxer, he boxed so many years, he's punch drunk. Okay, well, he probably had the brain damage, okay? And you guys know and I know, you go back 15 years ago, the concussion thing You had a concussion. Nobody had a big deal about it. And also, you got your bell rung. I mean, how many times I could say, I got my bell rung, but you didn't think anything of it, Heck, they would give you smelling salts, which was ammonia, and go, okay, go back in. It was silly. But there's other problems too, and that's what I want to go to right here. If you talk to a doctor right now, and I'm just trying to set the scenario up before we start doing some things that make this game better, that there is clearly, they'll tell you, the doctors will tell you, they're not as worried about the concussion issue as kids get older. They know it's there. They know they can work with it, and more ideas are about it. What is a real concern for the doctors, and please feel free to talk to them, because they'll tell you, the growing epidemic of inactivity is, to the doctors, the major concern when they're saying 20, 30 years down the road for these kids. And there's some information that I got from Aspen Institute that put together a pretty heavy research on this thing. I'm just throwing a few statistics at you, some ideas, and then we'll go from there. Right now, according to this research that was done in 2019, 41.5% of teens, these kids that are walking the halls in high school, right, between 16 and 19 are considered obese. 41.5% of those teenagers are considered obese. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. Okay. A lot of the coach teachers in the building right now, phys ed has been taking a hit. It's been taking a hit in every high school, moving it back, not needed as much and whatever. And that's going in the wrong direction right there. Now, what also happens, and let me just, because this is important to that's happening. Besides, the obesity and what will lead to all sorts of problems when they get to be 40, 45 years old, the quality of life with diabetes and all sorts of things. Okay. They've realized that there are certainly academic issues involving cognitive skills. You're hearing it on the news because of COVID and kids not being able to go to school, that they're noticing some things. Well, this inactivity is clearly causing a problem with the cognitive skills, and also underneath it's the psychosocial issues, which means just simply working environment with others. The COVID is showing that kids need to be social with other students and adults and so on. But here we are, folks. Here's youth, and by the time only 39% of high school students participate in sports. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're on their phone, right, and doing things and creating a situation that's not good physically, nor is it good mentally. We have a basic crisis going on. 70% of the children leave organized sports by the age of 13. That was also confirmed by the National Alliance of Sports. 70% who may have been involved in some team sport, whatever it was, when they're little kids, 13 years old, they're in junior high. And 70% of them saying, I'm done with team sports. Well, they miss out. They miss out on a lot of things, as you know. My next idea is the core cognitive skills that are so important to be a student, to live a proper good life. The attention span that clearly is having a problem. Response, it's called inhibition. What that means is people handling distractions, speed of information processing down, cognitive flexibility control, changing situations that occur, that it throws them all off, multitasking, they're struggling with, working memory, adjusting to coaching instructions or teaching instructions, category information. I'm putting offense, defense, and special teams, etc. And also I'm putting pattern recognition tendencies. They're seeing these things diminishing in young kids. Why do I put the parentheses there? If those kids play football, every single practice, those things in parentheses, you agree with me? I strongly believe part of the game is handling distractions and processing what the coach is saying and changing situations in a football game, multitasking. All of them are there. What a great experience for the kids. Could it happen in soccer and lacrosse? Maybe, but you know, and I know football has the most involved. And I believe I'm also the track coach. Okay, I see kids running and working and so on, but it's different because it doesn't have that social, as much social interaction and so on that can happen. I'm moving here. What do we do about this situation? And I know I'm on the soapbox here, but I'm going to go to where Hudl can help us. Okay. What can we do about that situation I just talked about? Okay. Well, sure. We have shots in our arms. I got one. I got another one coming up next week. And we got to get this COVID thing on in the past. But let's go on. We've got to get the kids out for team sports. Team sports are the most productive solution to what those things I just listed. The team sports are. Now, you know, is football a roster cut sport program anymore? Now, fellas, I don't think so anymore. I mean, years and years ago, yeah, there were cuts in football. You know, they used to have 100 and some kids come out, and you know, kids would cut, and so I don't see that anymore in any of the programs. I think most coaches that are on this right now, or all over America, would say, I'd love to have a team of 60 kids on the varsity, or 70 or 80. I'd take that, and I'm fortunate I do. I have about 80 kids, 90 kids sometimes. I used to have 105, 100 whatever, but they would be part of the team. But that has gone down a little bit. But the idea of, you look at the other sports, when I say cut, you know, come on, kid, be part of a team. And there's 100 little kids out for the soccer camps in the summer, and 100 some kids out for the baseball camp, so on like that. But stop and think for a moment. When they get to high school, freshman year, sophomore year, the numbers being kept there are going to dwindle down. There's not going to be 100 kids on the soccer team at a high school. How many seniors are you going to have on the soccer team? 7, 8. So there's a lot of kids that along the way, they got cut. And so then they're left without a team sport. Basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer. The one sport that can have the biggest roster and welcomes the biggest roster. Heck, you know, and I know, if we have to buy more shoulder pads or more helmets because we have more kids coming out, believe me, we'll find a way to get that money. There's people that'll help, alumni and business people. But where the other sports are cutting and you're seeing less, they don't have as many opportunities. Football has the opportunities. And that's what we have to sell. We have to make sure people realize, son, you may not be the biggest kid, but if you have heart and you want to work hard and be a teammate, you can be on this team. And that's the kid. I've been in this a long time, fellas. That kid that's the second and third team kid, you know, he gets in at the end of the game here once in a while, but that kid goes on to be very successful. I have so many guys that have started their own companies or president of companies and so on like that. They were second and third team guys because they learned what team meant, and they were on a team, and they learned to sacrifice for the team. So this sport is needed. Now we got to make it happen. And so I'm going to move here to the next thing. And now, how do we do this? And now I'm going to start getting to working with what we can do with Hudl. Now we can teach the game more effectively to the coaches. How do we make the game safer and more enjoyable? Those are the two things we have to do. We have to convince the parents we're making it safer. Do not say safe. Don't do that, because you'll get the newspaper man at your door the next day going, well, how is it safe? Show me statistics. Use the word safer, that you're working on it. And certainly with the changing technique of tackling and contact and how much contact you have, we're doing it. We're doing that very much so, okay? Certainly we have to also address that it's more enjoyable. It has to be more enjoyable for the kid, okay? And with Hudl, I think we can create some things that they'll enjoy. We have to be able to teach the game more effectively to those youth coaches, and thus from the youth coaches to the players. And certainly relate to the kids are so into the social media now. we've got to attack that attraction. Those kids love that. We've got to take advantage of that and get them to love football that way too. So Hudl is going to give us that opportunity. Here's the diagram, and then what Hudl and the Browns and what we've been working on. A new kind of dimension. The high school coach has to be more involved with the youth groups during the season, during the off season, and helping in every way. And I have written up there, high school coach mentors youth football quality control. You hear a lot of things with colleges and pros calling, they have a quality control coach. Well, I'm thinking the high school coach for that youth league has to be the quality control assistant commissioner, that those coaches, those high school coaches, can make it a better experience, a safer experience, and make it so they're learning, but they're also having fun. So the high school football staff is there helping with drills, teaching drills, showing some fun plays that occurred during the season, helping with schemes and so on. And that arrow is pointing to the youth coaches. Fellas, the youth coaches are wonderful people. They're not getting paid. They played football 20 years ago, right? 20 some years ago they played. And then they have a little son, and for the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to help coach. Once in a while, you find some great, wonderful man or woman that'll go, no, I'm going to coach youth for 15, 20 years. It doesn't matter if my kid's on it or not. There's people out there. But and I, most of the time it's, hey, this kid's about 3rd or 4th grade. I'm going to help coach him. And then when he gets to high school, I'm done. So there's always that turnover, more different coaches coming in. They need help. They can't be just basing, well, I played 15, 20 years ago. I know football. Okay, that first day of practice, let's find out who the men are. We're going to line up and do, we're going to go Oklahoma for 45 minutes with the little kids. Well, the next day, there's about 7 or 8 kids missing because they're not coming back. And we've lost a kid that maybe 3 years from now will be a great player because, they just need help to their practice organizing, what indie drills, what group drills, technique stuff, and so on. Then the youth coach with Hudl, we can give them good information. We don't always have to have in-person clinics. We haven't been able to do that because of COVID, but we could have on Hudl some coaching clinics for those youth, showing some drills that you do. You take your iPad out to practice, or you just get a couple of your players, show a technique, show a drill. You have your iPad or your phone. You download it on Hudl, and then you send it out to, because the youth teams will be on Hudl also. We can easily get that information to them in the off season, during the season, whatever. And hopefully from the league coaches, they can send that information to the players and parents, because we have to win the parents too. Parents should be coming to the practices and seeing their kids really learning a lot, and learning that the high school coaches are helping and creating a culture, this youth culture, that football is a very positive thing. Okay. I'm going to move to this next slide. We can help with the idea that during the season, high school coaches as a source for Hudl operation. I'll show that in a minute. What I found out this year that we piloted, some of the youth coaches see how wonderful it is, but they're intimidated. They're intimidated on how to do it. Can the high school coaching staff be someone they can call and go, hey, I'm struggling. How do you do this? And we can get right back to them and go, oh, okay, let me show you how to do a playlist. Let me show you how to, download, things like that, right? In the past, you just show the game film and that'd be it. It's more than just seeing the game and reliving the past game. We've got to get beyond that, because why? Young kids have an attention span that's just limited. So, you got to change drills every about 10 minutes or so. But to sit there and they go through the film, play after play after play, youth kids, that's not the way to do it. There's other ways we can make, playlists and 5 or 10 plays that they look at to get better, and so on. And make stop action comments, correcting and praising technique. Kids love to see themselves on playing in the game. And there's, you guys know that you can put those little comments right there and go, hey, Billy, what a wonderful block. Way to go. Hey, Billy, this next play, if you just move your feet a little better, just things, just making playlists and sharing them with them. This is a golden opportunity for a teaching tool that the kids are used to. They're used to. So look, what we, as I'm here, you can make a highlight. Kids love doing highlight videos with their parents, by the way. They love that. The sit down, dad and his kid, mom too, can kind of, oh, this is a great play. Let's make a little highlight. You can show it to grandma or whatever. They have a lot of fun doing that. They can make their private little one. The youth coach can make that season end highlight. They have a little highlight film from this team, and they can have a lot of fun with it. Okay, that's important season. Now the off season, we want to improve technique in the off season for the kids. Sharing clips from the high school games with youth coaches and players. Son, someday you're going to play for this high school. Look at these plays. Look at having the fun that they're having out there. And also we can do what? We can film drills and technique with the high school players, the coaches, and distribute them to the youth coaches and to the players. I mean, just to show you, we can put things like this where this is off USA Football. Picture this in January or whatever, and we can say, hey, look, or even during the season. But here's a nice drill you can do during individual, okay? With bags. This is not a contact drill, but we can teach a lot. They blend in some of the pro teams, right? And here we are keeping leverage and driving through and keeping the head out of the way. Same shoulder, same leg. Great stuff. The youth coaches need these drills. They need to see this sort of stuff so they can take that. They look at their practice schedule and we have technique times. And where do they find it? They constantly ask, Coach, where can I find good drills? Where can I find good technique? Well, Coach, high school coach, we can provide them. We can, we're on Hudl. We can put on USA Football some of the clips on it and really make a difference. And that's the this is just another drill. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, but like for instance, they're always looking for this. Here's a nice drill you can do without pads on, even two-man rabbit here. Notice that this is the Seattle Seahawks, by the way. And notice they're keeping leverage, right? They're learning how to keep leverage, not diving to make the tackle. And one guy has to the right and left. And what shoulder do you do it with? I'm not doing a football clinic here, but we all like doing that. But these are things that we can put on for those youth coaches that by the time they get to the next season, their individual periods and their group periods are much better than just doing Oklahoma for 15, 20 minutes. Okay. There's more teaching going on and than what occurs there. So I'm going to show you a few other things later, but and then we're going to get to Hudl right here in a few minutes. The goal for the youth coach, and fellas, this is what they should be sensing. This is what brings them back. This is what brings kids back. Youth coaches youth coach loves to hear at the end of the season, I loved it, coach. I can't wait until next season. Now you got the kid hooked. You got the parents hooked. They want to keep playing. Okay. They trust that coach. They see that the kid loves working with that coach. That's important. Okay. It shouldn't be something that they hated the coach and they were afraid to get out in those drills. That kid will never come back. He'll never come back. And you see him walking the halls in high school. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. You go, why didn't that kid play football? Well, he did for a half a season and hated it. And that's not what we need. Youth coach takes pride in watching his or her youth players go on and play on the high school and college level. Great. They should take great pride because they helped develop that kid very much so. And the youth coach takes great pride in teaching the game in a fun and safe manner. That's what we need. That's how we have to help that youth coach every time. All right. Now I'm going to move over and I'm going to just share some things looking at from Hudl. Okay. And with Nick, Those were all, and I talked about this over a year ago. We were just talking and we came up with, wouldn't it be nice if Hudl created a program where it really connects the high school and the youth guys in an easier way? High school coaches, we're busy 7 days out of the week. Yeah, it's great to go to the youth game and stand around and wave and do all that, but you don't have that. You don't always have that time. You don't. Can you see the youth games? Can they be put on Hudl that that you can observe the youth games, on Monday or Tuesday? Yeah, that would be good. Here, we'll start going through a little bit here. I'm just going to bounce around a little bit. I'm going to go to like a junior high idea here. And I put together just this, it says Blitz, the Blitz playlist. Okay, so this is a junior high thing in the white, and notice I'm watching it, and I'm going to put a little comment here. I'm going to stop it right there. Boom! I hit that, and I put a little circle around that. This could have been, it was a decent play, but it could have been a great play. For the youth guys, if the left guard could come off the double team here, he stays on it. If he went to the linebacker, it would get 10-yard gain instead of about 6. Okay. Now, that little comment there, right? It helps the coach, helps the player because he sees it, huh? And then sure, it comes through and they stayed, and great, the kid gained 6 yards. He could have gained 10 if we would have come off, This is just another idea. And this happens in youth football all the time. See the left tackles changing the blocking scheme down there. They all get panicky when they see it. Oh, hey, left tackle, we should, don't change the block. Just, hey, if he should stay on, just block down. The Y coming across will get the end. That's the way the play's designed, okay? And then fine, it would have been great, Now I'm going to this one, and we got to praise the kid. And here, the quarterback. This is a nice drive. He does a great job on the read. You'll see that in a second. Hey, good job, Billy. Good read. Okay, now then we play the next one, but here's a good teaching moment. Now look at the right tackle. Man, he's in great position there of pass blocking, but the left guard, he's standing up, and he's letting that kid get inside, get his hands inside. And you go, who do you think's going to succeed? Who's going to succeed here? Who's going to work? Okay, well, we throw it, but and get a nice gain. But corrective criticism, that helps the coach, and that's a good thing that we do. Now I'm going to move because I'm looking at the clock and I want to make sure I get a number of things in here. The varsity game. I think this is a kind of an important little item that we can do. Okay, here we go. I did a little blitz. Yeah, where's my blitz thing here? Okay, I'm gonna move up. We can show them. I think kids like to look at the high school games and like to look at highlights, And
hey, Coach Kyle,
hello.
Can you share your Hudl screen so folks at home can see?
I'm sorry. I thought I had it on. Sorry.
It's okay. I just want to make sure that they can all see what you're showing them.
Okay. Yes. I apologize.
No problem.
I hit the button. Are we good now?
There we are. We can see
okay,
it. Thanks.
Sorry.
Yep.
Thought I hit the button. I'm still learning too, huh? That's all right. At my age, we can do it. All right. Now this is the varsity game. And I encourage, kids come to the varsity games. They do. And that's great. Get them in the game. But, they're running around and we can share some good things to them. Get them to see how how the game works. And they love highlights. Kids love highlights, believe me. All right. So, here's I just want to hear, they see it and we make a little comment. Hey, good RPO read by the quarterback. So here the little kids going, RPO, yeah, RPO, run pass option, son. Learn that because you hear that a lot. It's big in football. Oh, okay, now I know, right? It's such a wonderful teaching moment, all right? Okay, and then the kid can see, yeah, it was a running play, but look, the guy was open. They played soft coverage. bam, take it. That's what an RPO, little kids, you see that? That's a really good thing. Now this thing sometimes slips on back on me. Okay, I'm gonna hit this one. Kids love this. Little kids, hey, lineman, watch out, line does a nice job picking up a slant. They weren't ready, but they did. They reacted to the slant really well. Great effort by the running back, right? And we praise the kid, and some little young kid's going to picture himself as that running back, right? And that's what you hope. And so, wow, it makes that cut, makes that guy miss. And look at that. What a fun, exciting play. We go down and make it, have a good, we kick a field goal because you'll see why. But this is nice. Kids love this, right? They love seeing these highlights, They can see some corrections here. Okay, yeah, the center, keep your eye on the center and, what could happen here. The center, stay on the block. How often a youth coach would say, not just hit, move your feet, stay on the block, right? Well, they're seeing the high school guy with that same correction, okay? Now the kid can watch that center. We circled him, and what? He has him, he doesn't have him. Great, we gained 3 or 4. That could have been 6 or 7 yards, right? Okay, even the big guys missed that, but I can see how the kid can see that. We can tell him till he's blue in the face, but if he sees the film, that's really helped. Here's a situation, right? And it's a play action, and the running back should stay on his course and go to the right, but he sees a blitz, and what's happening is the Y is coming across to pick up that side. Okay, high school kids make mistakes too. Now that they both go to that side, the quarterback gets sacked, but the problem is, hey kid, take a look at the wide receiver breaking to the end zone. The quarterback had time, it's a touchdown. High school guys make mistakes too. Learn from it, okay? All right, now, men, during the season, this is good stuff. These are good things that we can do and show technique things. Let me move to this. I do want to show, okay? I'm going to go to what we have on the Browns library here for the last few minutes. Now, here's what I tell you. The connection. Yeah, the high school, the films can go right back and forth from the high school coach to the youth guys right away. I'm just telling you guys right away. You're a great source for them for Hudl, kind of going over, okay, this is how you download, and this is how you make playlists, and this is how you do it. You're very important. But I want to assure you, when we started this pilot last year, Hudl was, and I'm not doing it just because we're on it. They did a wonderful job. I'll just show you what they did here for us. Okay, they put on Hudl 101, just a training thing that we could put on the Browns Hudl thing, the library for all these coaches to look at, right? And right away, I'm just gonna, it just, if you take a look here, it breaks it down kind of nicely, on what we can do here. It's going to kick in here in a second. Yeah, are you guys seeing this? I hope you're all seeing this. I think they gave us this agenda. If you take a look, and they just went right through it, and we posted it on our web, on the website, so that the coaches could come back and see how you upload the video. How do you create playlists, exchange, and Hudl just did a beautiful job in tutoring it on with video and so on. I'm sure if they did it for us for this pilot, they'll do it for all of us, okay? And again, the exchanges that maybe that league, you could, instead of scouting, that they could do this sort of thing. So they went through all this training, which was really, really very helpful for the youth guys that did it. I'm going to move back for a second. I'm showing another thing. One team, let me share this very quickly, and I'm watching the clock. The year before, this coach, I wish he would come on because he would share it with you. His youth, young group, they were like third graders or whatever. They finished the season 2-5, okay? But he joined up with this pilot, and he used Hudl, really in a pretty limited way. But he used it, and the kids, he said the kids loved it. We saw great improvement. The same kids a year later go 5-2, and he goes, we were much better, and the kids loved working with Hudl. He's a fan now of what this thing did for his youth group. He has a lot of fun with the high school guys, and it does some wonderful things. Just showing you, certainly the USA football tackling things we've put on a little bit. I'm going to show you this one. This is with the Cleveland Browns. We were experimenting with this idea of doing little short clinic type of things. Okay, you may recognize the guy who's talking here. If you can hear, make sure you can hear it, I guess. Hopefully you're getting this, everybody. So we made some cut-ups, and this is what I'm picturing, the high school players can do. And right here, we were, the defensive back working with his footwork and so on like that, okay? Going for the ball, getting to the hip, all those sort of things. Well, picture your high school guys. You're on the field, you got your iPad there, you're filming the drill. Now you can show it to the coach, and he learns some things. And lo and behold, he can pass it on through Hudl. He can pass it on through Hudl to the players. And that makes a big difference. So just what I'm showing you here, it could be, the off-season stuff that you set up. You have your library that you provide those drills, those individual drills, those group drills, those techniques that the coach needs to learn. You can be that kind of quality control coach, okay? Quality control commissioner of the league, okay? You're busy. You got a high school season to go. But what's important is the high schools, at least in our area, and I'm going to tell you right now, the public school high schools like Menor High School, Kirtland High School, and there's several others. They are doing things like this with their youth groups, and they got loads of youth kids playing football. They got a lot of them. And those kids come up, and they're helping their high schools make it to the playoffs every year. You might as well just automatically put them in the playoffs, because those kids learn the techniques, even the terminology that the high schools want. Okay, so that's what's going on. I tried to throw a lot at you, not just the Hudl stuff. Hopefully, I'm sparking some ideas of what you can do with this if you connect it with your. And Hudl will gladly. They want to do this. They want to go into this territory where the youth and the high school are connected and really developing that kind of learning relationship. It could be a really wonderful thing for all of us. And I encourage you to talk to Hudl about it. They'll love to talk to you about it. I can assure you it's been a huge success in what we do. At this point, if there's some questions, Trevor, if there are, we can maybe do some things, huh? If not, I'm pretty much wrapped up here. I did my 45. So again, if anybody has any questions.
I'll double check and look. Feel free to post your questions right now, and we'll give Coach Kyle a couple minutes to answer them.
Well, we may
Not
be
seeing
there.
any questions come across, Coach.
Okay.
So
Thanks
for your time. You can go ahead and wrap up.
Well, okay. Hey, fellas, first of all, I appreciate that you tuned in here, because there's some great coaches on this thing. My good friend Steve Specht, I think he talked yesterday, did some things with defending the RPOs. Those are great talks and fun talks and so on. And I was asked by Hudl to kind of approach something this way. And from my perspective, I've been in this thing very, very long. And I hope I'm encouraging you to keep this game going. Okay. And, the NFL, they're kind of set right now, but high schools, we need those youth kids coming up. We need the parents to believe in this game, and we got to make it fun for them. We got to make it safer for them. We got to make the technique that they should come to the practices and see, oh yeah, I see these coaches are being really good about teaching safer technique involved. We need those people. And come on, we got to do this, high school coaches. We have to do it. Okay. So God bless. Thank you. Thank you for listening in. There's more attractive talks than what the subject matter we had today, but I think this is an important one. Okay. All right. Enjoy. God bless.